delegation will include Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov himself, First Deputy Prime Minister Andrei Belousov, Finance Minister Anton Siluanov, Russia's Special Envoy and head of its Sovereign Wealth Fund, Kirill Dmitriev, will participate in the Trump-Putin summit in Alaska tomorrow. Now we go back to our guest discussion with Professor Vasilin Popovsky. Thank you, Professor, for staying with us. Now, with key figures like Andrei Belousov, also Kirill Dmitriev attending, what role do you think Russia's economic and financial interests will be during this summit?
Yes, obviously the delegation is large, and Putin would like to show this is a normal bilateral meeting discussing future cooperation between Russia and United States. That's why the delegation looks kind of normal. But all these are war criminals. Let's not forget, everybody in the Russian government is a war criminal. And they will try to, exactly, you're right, they will try to project it as a normal meeting where the future of the Russian-United States relationship, even Putin is a globalist. He would like to show himself as somebody discussing the future global order. And all of this will be ridiculous because we know who is Putin, we know who are the rest of his people. These are war criminals, these are aggressors. And the whole summit is absolutely ironic because it is the same as if in 1945, US president after Roosevelt is meeting the Nazi leaders, Hitler and Himmler and Göring all together. So Donald Trump put himself in a very difficult position here because he will be obviously flattered by the Russians, who would like to show to the world that everything is normal. And he has very little space to maneuver because he's aware what the rest of the world thinks about this charade, about this circus in Alaska, and nothing is going to happen. Obviously, that there could be some promises for ceasefire, so let's watch that, whether the meeting in Alaska may produce a ceasefire, a 30 days, even limited ceasefire on airstrikes, for example. That could be a first step to some future negotiation, but obviously then Ukraine and the Europeans should be on the table for that. So if there is a ceasefire tomorrow, announced by the Russian president, that's the only news that matters. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Professor, for sharing that. Please stay with us as we come back to you for our next news as well. Now we stay on the topic. Kremlin aide Yuri Ushakov confirms the itinerary for the Putin-Trump summit tomorrow. The program includes one-on-one talks with translators, wider meetings with delegations, working breakfasts, discussions on sensitive issues, trade and economic cooperation, Ukrainian crisis regulation, and will conclude with a news conference at the end. Now we go back to our guest discussion with Professor Vasilin Popovsky. He's a professor and vice dean at Jindal Global Law School. Thank you, Professor, for staying with us. Now, what does this signal about Russia's priorities in the ongoing diplomatic discussions and its approach to broader geopolitical landscape?
We'll try to make this meeting to look as normal as discussing trade relationship between the United States and Russia, and maybe some even global issues. They may even include in the agenda issues in the Middle East, Iran, and other topics. But again, the most important thing here, will Donald Trump coerce Vladimir Putin to stop fire in Ukraine? And that means everything. If he doesn't, that means more sanctions on Russia. So all the Russian plans to talk about trade relationship will fall down if Donald Trump say, no, I will stop trading with Russia. No more negotiation. It's only one meeting. And if Putin doesn't stop the fire, then a lot of sanctions will follow up on Russia. So Russia may try may make a lot of plans, but this will not materialize if Donald Trump wants to stop the war. In fact, if he doesn't, then the war will continue. It is against all the promises that Donald Trump made 7-8 months ago. The only way to stop the war is to tell Putin, stop fire, otherwise there will be severe consequences and sanctions. So all this big delegation with trade minister going to Alaska is basically a photo opportunity. They want to be photographed in Alaska as a big delegation, going out of isolation, because nobody in the world ever invited this big delegation from Russia.
Yes.
Apart from North Korean and Chinese, but the rest of the world is definitely not inviting aggressors and war criminals on their land. Trump is, unfortunately.
Yes, Professor, we will